Hey, welcome back, Audra from chica+co. Are you at all curious about pet food? That is, the ingredient lists versus the nutrient percentages. What really matters when you're choosing food for your pets? If you've picked up a dog food bag, notice that it's got a 20% protein claim on the back and thought, hey, this looks solid, this video is for you. Join me as I unpack the myth that is a guaranteed analysis tells the whole story and explore what the ingredient lists actually reveal. So, which one is it? Let's get started. Something I hear a lot from one side of the debate, it's not about the ingredients, it's about the nutrients in the food, meaning as long as the protein percentages meet the minimum requirements, then it doesn't matter where that protein comes from. The ingredients don't matter, Audra. Why do you spend so much time talking about the ingredients when you can clearly see it's a great food just by looking at the nutrients listed? The age-old debate in commercial pet food land may seem simple on the outside, but just like most things involve money, unfortunately, the conversation gets really confusing and, interestingly, very, very passionate and sometimes quite heated. I have actually been accused of being ignorant and just plain stupid right here on the YouTube. It's not a black and white topic, and each side has their own opinions. And that's cool. That's the way of the world. But my main goal for making these videos is a really simple one. I want the best for our pets. So I hope this video gets you thinking next time you're out shopping. So how did we get here in pet food land believing that the ingredients really don't matter all that much, as long as the food says complete and balanced on the front of the bag and the nutrient panel hits all the minimum percentages set up by those really smart people that make up the rules and say that bare minimums are acceptable for our pets? Now, for those that know me or have watched any of my other videos, they know, I'm an advocate for fresh, whole foods. I teach functional feeding, and I'm a firm believer, to quote that really smart old dude, Hippocrates, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So here I am publicly questioning this way of thinking. Does a laundry list of percentages matter more than those numbers, how those numbers were actually achieved on the back of the bags? Does it really matter if the protein in the bag comes from, say, soy or corn or legumes or quinoa? These ingredients are all super high forms of plant protein. Yes, some plants are very high in proteins. Ask any vegetarian. They understand their bodies need protein, but they choose to get it through these types of ingredients, not meats. But our pets are not vegetarians. So mini rant over, back to the topic, which is more important, the nutrient list or the ingredient list. Controversy is my middle name. It's actually both. I was watching a video the other day by a guy that actually compared meat meal and meat digest to being the same idea as protein powders for humans. He said, maybe the rant is still coming, he said that it was just the same. To quote, it's protein powder for dogs. Now, the gold standard for protein powders for those in the gym industry, like my son, is whey protein. Stay with me. I'm going to explain why the ultra-processing of milk to extract the whey, that is the protein part of the milk, is actually quite different from the ultra-processing of meat byproducts. And for all those out there that are going to be outraged and say there's no studies or proof that this is real at all of these studies are listed below for your reading pleasure. Sorry, oh man, this one's sliding into a bit of a ranty video. So why is meat meal or meat digest for our pets not the gold standard like whey protein is for humans? Both are ultra-processed products, correct, but the difference lies in a couple of key points. Number one is continuity. What do I mean by that? Whey protein is extracted from exacting methods that are regulated, monitored, and routinely tested, as in every single batch. The milk used is fresh, clean, and tested before it goes through the chemical process. Meat meal or meat digest is a chemical process as well, but the ingredients are not routinely tested. There is no continuity in the sources of the meat used. In fact, there are little or no regulations around what goes into these products. If you haven't heard the term 4D meat, which is a common and acceptable mix of meat byproducts, that is the leftovers from the human meat industry, it literally means meat sourced from dead, dying, diseased, or disabled animals. Just think about that for a second. This mess is then chemically rendered into a powdered form and making the meat meal or the meat digest. Chlorine is one of those chemicals used, and it's all cooked down using very high heat, further stripping the nutrients and making it even more unrecognisable to the body's digestive process. So the point I'm making is this. There is no continuity in the process of making meat meal or meat digest. It's literally potluck what's in the stuff that makes up some of that 20% protein number on the nutrient list. You simply cannot compare human protein powders with crappy meat meals for this reason. And this type of misinformation really pisses me off because it's making it even harder for people out there without years of study to make informed choices for their pets. If you saw that dude's video in isolation, which thousands of people have, found it when scrolling without any context, it actually sounds credible until you dig a little deeper. Number 2, that is bioavailability. What the heck does this actually mean? Well, it basically means how well the food can be absorbed and how well the nutrients work in the body. An example of this is found in so many foods that are made for cats. Cats are obligate carnivores. They can only digest meat, and in a couple of cases, a little bit of plant matter if it's cooked. So I'm at the pet shop and I'm searching for a bag of dry food for my cat. That's cat with a K. So I turn over the bag and look at the analysis panel. That's the best place to start, as I know my cat needs proteins. And wowzers, that bag of food over there says 22%, and this one says 27%. Obviously, I'm putting back the 22% bag that was listed. It's not as good, right, as the 27%. Yeah? Nah? So off I go and hunt down the ingredient list, which, by the way, is in the smallest print, and I'm old and I can't see, I'm blind. The list says from most to least: maize, dehydrated poultry meat, rice, vegetable protein isolate, and wheat. So the animal protein is in this one is dehydrated poultry meat, which, by the way, is the latest trick out there in labelling rules, substituting meal for meat. So meat meal. Okay. The other ingredients are all forms of plant-based proteins. My cat needs meat, not vegetables. My cat can't digest or extract nutrients very well from vegetables whatsoever. So how much of that 20% protein listed in the nutrient panel is actually bioavailable to her? How much can she digest and actually benefit from, and how much is wasted? And that, guys, is the million-dollar question. And this is why you can't just trust the numbers on the back of the bag. You also need to check the ingredients as well. They go hand in hand. And in my opinion, the closer the ingredient is to the natural state, the better it is. In the case of my cat with a K, I look for an ingredient list that I know will be better digested and therefore better for her overall health. If there's a laundry list of added vitamins and minerals, you can bet it's a standard synthetic mix that's been made en masse and then added to the vast majority of commercial foods. If the company that's making the food for your pet needs to rely on these additives to meet the minimum, remember, minimum nutritional requirements, it's not the best bioavailable food. My cat, your cat, my dog, and your dog cannot digest this very well. Haters are going to be haters. Again, for those at the back of the room yelling loudly, there's no studies proving any of this, Audra. Check out the links below to those such studies. So to wrap this up, both the nutrient percentage list and the ingredient list are equally as important. Just because the percentages look good does not mean the way those percentages are met are the best nutrition for your pets, unfortunately. If you've learned something today, please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our other videos, which are awesome, by the way. This is the place where I like to teach in an easy to understand way all those things you didn't even know you needed to know.